Well, the average price of gas has just reached $4 a gallon in the United States for the first time in over a decade. In the last 6 months, inflation and energy prices has become one of the biggest issues affecting American households. The Biden administration continuously vowed to help bring those prices of everyday goods and services down, but in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, things could get a lot worse. There are calls from both Democrats and Republicans to halt the United States' reliance on Russian oil as retaliation for the country's decision to invade Ukraine. But with that boycott will come consequences, as there are concerns the US doesn't produce enough oil on home soil. This will also go against the Democrats' promise to combat climate change. While the US is one of the biggest exporters of crude oil, in 2021 there was still 209,000 barrels of crude oil being exported per day from Russia. That has significantly increased since 2015, when the US imported less than 50,000 barrels per day. It's estimated Russian oil makes up 3% of the US's imported oil, with the majority, 61%, imported from Canada. Fox News' Dagan McDowell called out the Biden administration for taking a jackhammer to the energy sector.
The day this man took office, I started talking about taking a jackhammer to our energy sector. And it is American prosperity, and also gives us power over nations that hate us. So we ceded power and wealth to Vladimir Putin by not opening up the spigot, if you will, by releasing leases and drilling in this country, Alicia, and this is what's happening. Andy Lipow, who I rely on, he's a great source for information on the oil and gas business. The U.S. is producing all it can right now. To increase production, we have to drill more wells. If we want more oil in the U.S., we have to drill for it. Don't dial 1-800-OPEC. OPEC Plus, that includes Russia. And about 7 months into the Biden administration, they actually had the audacity to ask OPEC to pump more oil, ask Russia to pump more oil. That's the idiocy of this administration.
Florida Senator Marco Rubio joined CNN's Jake Tapper, where he said the US shouldn't continue importing oil from Russia because it allows President Vladimir Putin to have power over the country.
You've introduced legislation to ban the import of all Russian oil to the U.S. There is growing bipartisan support for that idea on Capitol Hill. Secretary of State Blinken just told me that the Biden administration is seriously discussing it. Americans are already dealing with high gas prices. Should they prepare for that to get even worse in order to stand up to Putin?
Well, first of all, let me just say that the fact that people believe that not buying Russian oil, not having Russian oil would raise our gas prices is actually very concerning, because that proves that Putin has the leverage and the power over America to raise our gas prices anytime he wants. So we shouldn't allow that to continue. We should not allow Vladimir Putin to have the power at any moment to raise gas prices on Americans by cutting us off at some point now or in the future. So we should cut them off now and replace it with American oil, and have a buffer in between the time that production starts up and the time that we make the cutoff, and we can use our strategic reserves for that. That's what I hope we will do. I hope that's where the administration's headed, but it makes no sense whatsoever to continue to buy oil from Russia that they use to fund this war and this murderous campaign that they're undertaking.
Tesla founder Elon Musk even jumped on the bandwagon. He tweeted, "Hate to say it, but we need to increase oil and gas output immediately. Extraordinary times demand extraordinary measures." Obviously, this would negatively affect Tesla, but sustainable energy solutions simply cannot react instantaneously to make up for Russian oil and gas exports. Lauren Boebert replied to Elon's tweet with, "America is funding Russia's war by buying Russian oil and gas rather than producing our own." Texas Senator Ted Cruz retweeted the billionaire's tweet and said, "Couldn't agree more. Unleash American energy now."